Welcome to Java Fundamentals for Android, Part 3. In this video, we're going to be talking about logic, if-else structures, and loops. We often want to make comparisons and test conditions in our apps. For example, when loading the GPS Maps app, the app will actually check if GPS is enabled, and if it's not enabled, it will ask us if we want to enable GPS. To conduct a test like this, we need logic, for which Java has some special syntax. Also, we need a way of controlling which instructions are executed depending on some condition. So let's introduce the if-else clause. Using an if-else clause, we can control which instructions are going to be executed. An if-else clause looks like this. If condition, do this, else do that. We can be sure that either of these two statements will be executed, but never both. Java has some special characters to do logic. The double equal sign checks if two things are equal. For example, we can check if a variable is equal to the number 99 by writing bottles of beer equals 99. Exclamation mark equals checks if things are not equal. The exclamation mark stands for not. So to check if a variable is not equal to 99, you will write bottles of beer exclamation mark equals 99. So let's put these into an if-else clause. We'll initialize a variable called bottles of beer with the value 3. If bottles of beer is equal to 0, we're going to say go to the store, buy some more, else take one down, pass it around. Now, we know that the condition here, bottles of beer equals 0, evaluates to false because bottles of beer holds the value 3. So the else branch will be taken in this if statement. Take one down, pass it around. To make a comparison, we just use the less than and greater than signs. If we have an equal sign that follows them, then the condition would read greater or equal to or less than or equal to. Sometimes we want to require that more than one condition holds true. And for this, we can use the logical and sign, which in Java is just two ampersand characters next to each other. So to check if a value is between two numbers, we can write my variable is greater than 2 and less than 2 with the following notation. It's important to note that when we have a logical and in the condition in an if statement, then the if statement only gets executed if both conditions hold true. My variable must be greater than 2 and it must be less than 5. So it can actually only be equal to 3 or 4. Then statement 1 will be executed. Remember booleans? Booleans are a type of data that can only hold one or two values, true or false. So if you have a Boolean variable called answer, it can equal false or it can equal true. It cannot hold any other values. If we're only interested in one condition holding true, we can use the logical OR, which is denoted by pipe. So suppose we have the following example. Boolean sunny equals true, Boolean hangover equals false. So sunny is true, hangover is false. If sunny or hangover, go to park and frolic, else go to pub. And because sunny is true, the if branch will execute. So we go to the park and frolic. When something has to be done repeatedly, we don't copy-paste our code. Instead, we use something called loops. And loops come in two flavors. There are while loops and there are for loops. We use a while loop when we want to execute a block of code while a certain condition holds true. The structure of a while loop is while, condition, and then between the two braces are the statements that get executed while the condition holds true. Here's an example of a countdown timer using a while loop. We have a variable called time, which holds the integer 3. The while loop reads, while time is greater than 0, call the method countdown sound and then reduce the value of time by 1. And when that's all done, call the method rocket liftoff. So we're setting the value of time equal to 3. Then we check the condition of the while loop. We are checking if time is greater than 0, which it is. So we enter the loop and execute countdown sound, and then we set the value of time equal to 2. Next, the condition is evaluated again because we've gotten to the end of the loop, so we're going back to the beginning. And it is still true, 2 is greater than 0, so the countdown sound is executed, and next the time variable is set to 1, 2 minus 1. The condition still holds true because time is equal to 1, which is greater than 0, and we execute countdown sound one final time, and we set the value of time equal to 0. At this point, the condition evaluates to false because 0 is not greater than 0, and we exit the loop and rocket liftoff is called. The sibling of the while loop is the for loop, and the for loop executes a predetermined number of times. The structure of the for loop is as follows. We have for, initialization, condition, increment, and then we have the statements that are to be executed inside the body of the for loop between the two curly braces. The condition is we're checking that I is smaller than 3. And finally, the increment part comes with I++, which is nothing other than saying I is equal to I plus 1. So that means that I is increased by 1 every time the loop runs. So similar to the while loop, the condition is evaluated at the end of the loop and the loop exits if the condition is not met. Let's simulate in a for loop the average work week. We're starting with our counter I being initialized at 0, and we're gonna run it 5 times. We're gonna say I, as long as it's smaller than 5, we're gonna run the body of the for loop. In this case, it's wake up, go to work, and sleep. So I starts out at 0, and we execute the body of the for loop. Wake up, go to work, sleep. Then I is incremented by 1, so then I is equal to 1. It's smaller than 5 still, so again, we wake up, we go to work, and we go to sleep. I is incremented again, then it's equal to 2. 2 is still smaller than 5, and again, we execute. Wake up, go to work, sleep. This continues until I is equal to 4, and this is the last time that we increment I and still meet the condition. So in summary, we use an if-else construct to control what code is executed based on a condition. The double equals means equal to. The not equal to is written as exclamation mark equals. Using the double ampersand, we require that all conditions hold true. But using the double pipe, we only require that at least one condition holds true. And that's basic logic covered. Moving on to loops, the while loop runs an unspecified number of times, and it runs as long as the condition is true. A for loop runs a predetermined number of times, and we keep track of the number of iterations in a for loop using a counter variable. Here's the syntax one more time. For int I equals 0, then we have the condition, and then we increment the little counter variable, and that I++ is just shorthand for I is equal to I plus 1. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we're going to talk about collections and how to deal with groups of objects in arrays and array lists.